I'm going to just quick pin myself, and then we will get started. Okay, guys. Cool. Come on to the mat. Aim this down a little bit here. And if you didn't grab your blocks, grab a blanket too. So if you've got a thick towel or a blanket, I'm going to ask that you grab that and set it underneath your knees. So it's right in the middle of your mat. So I just have mine kind of folded the width of the mat, make it nice and thick. And then you can either come to sit on it in easy sit. If you want to start an easy sit, just cross the legs loosely, sit up nice and tall. Or if you're feeling it and you want to come into a saddle, take a block and sit on it and bend the knees underneath you, feet alongside of you, whatever feels better today. So you can start an easy sit, or if you want to start in saddle. All right, we'll just land here after having a little bit of that craziness with the microphones. So I'm just going to take some deep inhales and exhales. Hands resting on the top of the thighs, crown of head lifted towards the sky. Relax the shoulders down and away from the ears, and take some nice, slow, deep breaths. Just inhale. Full, fill up, fill up, fill up, and then just let it out the mouth to start here. Let it all go. One more time, inhale. And exhale out the mouth again. Let it go. And then I'm going to ask that you bring your arms, sweep your arms up overhead, and then bring your fingertips right to your shoulders. And we're going to do a little bit of seated cat-cow. So whether you're sitting cross-legged or you're sitting up on your knees, either one works. So first we're going to arch our back, lift our chin up just a little bit, bring our shoulders down and towards the back, almost kind of like you're trying to touch your elbows together. Really stretch across the chest. We'll take the inhale as we're stretching the chest broad, open, open, open. And then exhale, round the spine and bring the elbow tips together. Pull the belly button towards the spine. So from the side, I'm making that cat, that Halloween cat shape. Pull, 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 pull. Inhale, elbows wide, almost squeezing the shoulder blades together. Exhale, round, touch the elbow tips. Do a few more of these. Inhale, arch, arch, arch. Exhale, round the spine, pull the belly button in. Inhale, just waking up the spine here. Exhale, round. One more. Inhale, broaden across the collarbones. Exhale, round. And then we'll land our hands at the side. And then we're going to sweep our left hand up and over for a deep side stretch. Maybe glancing up towards the ceiling, keeping your shoulder away from the ear. So you're bending the other elbow. Come on back up, switch sides. Left hand on the mat, right hand sweeps up and over. And come back to center. We'll add just a little twist. Grab onto the thigh, give yourself a little leverage, look towards the back of your room. Come on back to center, opposite side, another little twist. And then come on back. We're going to start in tabletop. So swing your legs around and grab your blocks. I'm going to have you use those underneath your hands today. So coming into table, keep your knees on that towel or that blanket that you have folded. So adding just another little extra cush. And we're going to do a little bit of that spinal flossing that I learned about in my yin class. So this is a great way to make sure that your nerves are gliding and happy. So come on back where your heels and your bum are coming closer together. And then look up and inhale, shoulder blades down and away from the ears. Exhale, come up, round into that Halloween cat shape. So this should feel kind of familiar, right? We were kind of doing this same thing, broaden across the chest. Inhale, exhale, round Halloween cat shape. Inhale, butt comes towards the heels. This is the same sort of motion that we were just doing seated. Inhale and exhale, round. All right, release the toes down to the mat, and we're going to go lower down into our first 3-minute hold, which is going to be child's pose today. So if you'd like to keep the blocks underneath your hands, you can. If you want to go wide-legged childs and you have your knees out to the side, big toes to touch, and send the hips back, you can. Whatever feels better. If you'd like to have a little cushion behind your legs because it's not that comfortable to sit down on your heels, stick a little pillow under your bum. So inhale and set those hips back and slide your arms forward. So rest your head on the mat and just start taking some nice, slow, deep breaths. If this is feeling like too much in your shoulders, you can just take the hands off the blocks if you want. Rest them on the mat, soften a little bit in the shoulder blades. But you pick your level today, what feels good in your body. Rest your heavy head. Take some nice deep breaths here. Just beginning to slow everything down. Inhale, feel your back fill up with air. Exhale, send it all out, empty out. Working to find the pose that feels like you're getting that nice deep stretch without going past your little personal edge, right? You want to keep it safe. So since we're back at this after having been away from it for a bit, just reminders that we don't want to feel any pain in the body. It's okay to feel a nice deep stretch, but we don't want to feel any stinging, any burning, any tingling, anything popping. That would not be good. So that's our sign that we need to back off and not go that far. So we're always paying close attention and listening to what our body is communicating to us. And once we have that pose where it feels good, that kind of sweet spot between our effort and relaxation, then we find our stillness. Just keep paying attention to your breathing and hold. Check in with other parts of your body. Make sure you're not holding or gripping in the jaw. So you want slackness in the jaw. The tongue's resting on the back of the front teeth. Just keeping your slow, steady breath. Welcome to the inside, right? Where we go inward. All right, that was a nice long hold. So easy does it, coming back out. Just walk your hands back upright, kind of recalibrating that rebound that we've talked about in the past. Right, we're going to slide into pigeon. So in this case, I'm going to suggest you keep your hands on the blocks. And we've done pigeon before. I'm going to take my right leg first and move it forward, and I'm going to slide it kind of right between the two blocks. Okay, so I'm sitting kind of upright still. My crown of head is lifted towards the sky, and my opposite leg, my right leg is bent. My opposite leg is sticking straight back. Kneecap is facing towards the mat, it's lying on top of the mat. And if this is enough of a stretch for you, because obviously we're aiming for the hips here, this is all about the hips. So we're opening the hip flexor on the one side, or we're also working on that outer hip on the other side. So you can stay nice and upright. If this feels good, just want to hold it here. If you'd like to slide your foot off a little bit more so that it's on that closer to the opposite leg, then you can come on down to your elbows and see how that feels. Okay, so you might feel a little bit more now in your right hip if you've got your right leg bent. And kind of wiggle around there and see how that feels for you. You just don't want to be like off kilter onto your side. So you're really trying to square your hip points up center facing the mat, if at all possible. And if it's not possible, that's okay. You do what we can. Maybe we want to slide our bolster underneath us too. We could just drape ourselves just right over the top of a bolster or pillow. Rest your chin down if that feels good. If you're down here and you're really open in the hips and you're just not feeling it, you might want to little by little just walk your heel up a little bit on that front leg, the right leg, moving in the direction of kind of like making your shin parallel to the short side of the mat. You're going to definitely feel more of it in that bent leg, so in that outer hip. So you decide. We'll hang here for just a couple minutes on each side. Pigeon's pretty intense, so we'll do a little 2-minute hold here. So maybe you're upright, maybe you're draped over your bolster, maybe your elbows are on the ground or on your blocks. All variations are good, just a matter of what your body is calling for today. Pigeon can be a great pose for sciatica, but for some people, it can actually aggravate things and make it worse. So again, like with everything we talk about in yin, it's just so important for you to do the right thing for your body. So if you feel like this just isn't working, maybe this pigeon pose, it just feels too intense, you can always switch it up and just go to reclined ankle to knee. Okay, this does the same thing in just a much gentler version. So, but you're going to feel that same opening happening in that outer hip and that bent hip. So you pick. Reclined ankle to knee works. Or sleeping swan is actually what they call this in yin yoga. Pigeon is more of a traditional vinyasa name for this pose. As always make those adjustments. If you need to back off, back off. That's you paying attention. That's you being aware of what's working in your body today. I'm feeling it, so that was pretty deep in my sleeping swan pose. So I'm coming out of that a little bit, raising my upper body up a little bit more, taking a little bit of that pressure off of that bent leg. And that was 2. So roll off, kind of go towards the back side of your body as you come out of that one. And then swing your other leg around. And you might just want to give your knees a little bit of a hug here before we switch sides. Okay, so now we have the left leg bent, right leg going straight out behind us. Oh, what a difference that makes, right? Let's see how that one feels. Do we need to stay up high? Would we like to be up here on blocks, kind of lifted, just really working on our hip flexor? Go for it if that feels good. If you'd like to lie down or come closer to the ground, maybe walk those elbows down, maybe rest your forehead on a pillow, maybe walk the heel out a little bit more to kind of get your hips a little bit more square. Kind of check in with your body here. Just close your eyes, really go inside for a moment and just kind of walk from head to toe or toe to head and just really think about what is it that you're feeling right now. Like, are you having sensation in your low back? Are you having sensation in your hips? Are your shoulders feeling tight? Is your jaw tight? Loosen the jaw. Anywhere that you can consciously kind of send some energy to soften any areas of tightness. Just allow the body to really relax into this pose. And keep breathing long, slow. If your mind is drifting today, mine certainly is. I'm just not in the yin mode right now, guys. This is rough. So I'm trying to do a little bit of counting. Maybe you want to count along with me. So maybe we inhale 2, 3, 4, exhale 2, 3, 4. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Keep that going. All right. Gently, slowly. Remember the key difference between yin yoga and all other forms of yoga is the coming out of the pose is just as important as getting into it or being in it. So we're going to take our time and find your strap. Keep your seat on your blanket. We're going to do our legs up the wall. So these are still bent. If you feel the need to do a little windshield wiper knee, again, this is just one of those great little inserts between poses. If that feels good on the hips after what we just did, rock those knees back and forth, windshield wiper style. And when you're ready, nice and easy, slow it down, roll down, keep your seat on that blanket to give yourself just a little bit of a boost. It just kind of adds a nice cushion to keep the blanket on the mat. So obviously you can do this without the blanket, but I'm going to kind of stay on my blanket the whole time, and you'll have to see what you think. So I'm going to go right leg high to the sky. So slip that strap on the bottom of your foot. I like to do it up by the ball of my foot. Decide if you want to keep the opposite knee bent or if you'd like to straighten that leg. Decide if you want to deeply bend your knee. Options here could be bent, could be straighter, but the foot is flexed either way. So it's kind of like you're standing on your ceiling. If you'd like to lower that leg down to the side using the strap, you can do that. If it feels good to cross over the midline of the body and come to a more internal rotation, you can do that. So find it. If you don't have a strap, you can just clasp on the back of your thigh to hold your leg in place and hold it. So for me right now, it's really calling me to open up the back of my hamstring. So I'm kind of just going with straight up towards the sky because this just feels really good. I'm getting a nice deep stretch right down the back of my hamstring. So maybe you're there, maybe your knees are bent, maybe you're somewhere else. That's okay. We're all treating our own little individual ailments. This is us paying attention to the tension in our body and trying to find a way to help relieve that. Relax your face, your forehead, your jaw. Soften, soften. Allow that strap to do the work for you. Maybe it's working to close the eyes. Maybe you're just not there right now. That's okay. We meet ourselves where we are today. Nice spot to just place your hand, your opposite hand on your low belly. You can really feel your belly inflate on that inhale. Fill it up. Okay. One side done. So as you come out, bend the knee first, then pull the strap off. Then place your foot back on the ground with bent knee. And we're going to switch sides. So for me, that means left leg's coming up. Releasing the strap on the bottom of the foot. Sending this foot high to the sky. And then deciding if I'm going to keep my opposite leg bent or how does it feel if I straighten. That feels nice. Maybe your foot is straight up. Maybe you're putting more of a deep knee, kind of a half happy baby into this one. It might be more like the shape of a happy baby shape. Maybe we want to send it out to the side if we want to go for the inner thigh. Maybe we want to cut across the midline. And that's a little bit more of that IT band. Good runner stretch. What's calling you? I do feel a lot of tightness in the back of my hamstrings today. So, you know, I've said this before, but sometimes it just feels nice to place your hand on that part of your body where you're feeling that tightness. You know, just kind of help remind it like, you're good, you're okay. Soften, soften. You know, the goal here is to not engage the muscles, but to use gravity and our straps and our props to allow the muscles to fully relax so that we get the work done with the fascia, the tendons, the ligaments. Truly the closest thing to being able to give yourself a massage, a full body massage. I really think the benefits of yin are very similar to getting a full body massage. I hope I didn't lose you guys. Yeah, I just lost my AirPods, so hopefully you can still hear me. All right, let's release that side, bend the knee, slip the strap off. Done with the straps, you can just push that off to the side. Maybe do a full body stretch here like you're waking up in the morning. Maybe point your toes, reach your arms up overhead, and then just kind of let everything go. Okay, did some good work there on those hamstrings. Maybe a little windshield wiper. We're going to roll over onto our side for cat pulling tail. So whichever side you went to, that's all good. I rolled onto my right side. I'm going to start with my hand up. So with my head propped on my hand, I've got a little pillow out in front of me that I'm going to kick my legs straight out in front. Okay, so I can still feel this. How about you? I can still feel this in the back of my thigh. All right, remember, it doesn't have to be a perfect 90-degree angle, right? You can just do what feels okay for you today. We start kind of in the pencil shape where we're just a nice long line on the mat. Then we kick our top leg out in front of us. Always feels nicer if we can land it on something, but not required. You don't have to have anything under there. And then reaching around for our opposite foot. Okay, so we're going for the quad stretch here. So as we grab on behind our back onto that foot, just play with this a little bit here. It doesn't usually take too much before you start to feel that quad really beginning to tug a little bit. So obviously, the closer you bring your heel to your butt, the more you're going to feel that quad stretch. But this, again, as a reminder, is one of the easy ones that some people tend to go over on and just crank too much. They really use their upper arm strength to pull hard on that quad. And that's not what we're about because we're going to hang here for a while. So we just keep that gentle tug going. It's not extreme. You could play around with if you want to rest your head down, just straighten that arm. You can do that too. Or if it feels better to keep your head propped up into your hand, then choose that option. Kind of think of that top shoulder that's facing the ceiling as kind of rolling back off your body. So you're bringing that, shifting that shoulder open towards the sky. Great place to look at your belly as you're breathing. You really work on that diaphragmatic breathing. Squeeze the belly button to the spine to get every last bit of that stale air out on the exhale. Inhale. Fill it up, low belly, then the ribs, then it comes up into your upper chest. And then as you exhale, pull the belly button towards the spine. You can work on your ocean breath, Ujjayi breathing, right? So that constriction in the back of the throat on the exhale, really making your breathing audible. It's the connection with the breathing that is what kind of takes us into the flow state of yoga. So we're really focusing on our deep inhales, big long exhales, taking us out of the monkey mind, out of the chatter. Side one is done. If you'd like to just do a complete rollover to go to the other side, you can. I'm going to do the swing around. Start like a long pencil roll, and then kick your top leg out and reach around, grabbing that back leg. Head propped up in the hand or lying down, whichever you like. Nice gentle tug. Where do you feel that engagement? What does it take? How much of a tug does it take before you start to feel the pull right across the quads? Your mind is still drifting. Maybe you can find a drishti or a focus point, something that you can look at. Back to that breath. Okay, release that side. Take your time. Moving nice and slow. We're going to go into Sphinx. So if you've got your bolster or pillow and you want that, go ahead and grab it. So you're going to roll onto your tummy. Again, you don't need to have the bolster or pillow. You can just come right on into your proud Sphinx with your elbows underneath your shoulders, lifting up, pressing into the mat, nice and tall and long in the spine, long in the back of the neck. Don't do anything funky with the neck, right? We just maybe keep our crown of head thinking maybe parallel towards the ceiling, or maybe the chin might be just dipped ever so slightly too. So options here. If you want the bolster, go for it. You can certainly put that right underneath you. Gives you a little more boost, perhaps. If you'd like to come up into seal, maybe you grab onto the outside of your mat, bring it up even higher, lock the elbows so that you get more of an easefulness in this position. Okay, another option could be to bend the knees. If this feels good, you can stay right here. And that does feel pretty good today. Again, how do you feel about the towel or the blanket under the hips? I think it feels kind of nice. And we're here for 3. We're already down to 220, so not too long. Always like to offer incorporating a neck stretch if you like in this position. So if you want to glance over to the right, looking over your right shoulder, maybe hold this for about 30 seconds. Maybe close the eyes here. Remember not to collapse into this pose. Keep your shoulders proud, up high. Turn the head back towards center. And then let's try a little neck stretch to the left. Ooh, wake up, left side of neck. Totally different over here. It was no problem turning my head to the right, but all of a sudden looking to the left feels a little bit stiffer. Keep the free and flowing breath. That's the sign you're pushing it. When you can't keep your free and flowing breath, that's the sign that you're going too far, you're trying to do too much. And in yin, we don't want any of that. We want to back off. Typically, people who come to yin class, they're expecting it to be a lot more like a vinyasa class, and so they have the mindset of pushing themselves, trying to get into a specific pose, trying to look a certain way. All right, bring that head back to center. We may have left that a little too long. That's okay. We'll be okay. When here, it's more about softening, not pushing. That is the yin. We're not doing yang practice. We're doing yin. Okay. Release the legs if you had them bent. You might be feeling a little bit of something, something in the back. So let's put our hands beneath our shoulders and then just rest your head for a minute and let's just wiggle those hips left and right. And maybe we turn the head the other direction, wiggle those hips a little bit left and right. We just kind of release any tension we've got in that low back. And then let's just press it up and slide back through a down dog just to give ourselves, that little release in the back. Okay, and then since we're basically up, spy your block because we're going to move into bridge pose with blocks. So let's grab that and bring yourself back towards the center of the mat. And we're going to come on down again for bridge. Roll it down nice and easy. Taking your block with you. Knees are bent. Heels coming close to the bum, right? But not touching your bum. Can't that be kind of crazy, right? Press into the heels, lift the hips high, slide the block underneath you, set your tailbone on the block so it's not under your back. It's definitely under the sacrum. It's on the lowest part of your spine, and then decide, would I like to extend my legs out from here? Now that we're on the blanket or the towel, you might be getting a little extra height, but as I've mentioned to you before, you can always add a second block if this just doesn't feel like it's doing much for you and you need a little bit more of a back bend. So this is our back bend. We have our spinal flexion and our spinal extension. We have to hit both. So we just got some of it going with our Sphinx. And now we're going to stretch it even more with our bridge pose. And maybe you want your arms straight up overhead. So this is another option for you. Great place to watch the belly. Inhale, inflate. Exhale, just collapses back down. Expansion, contraction. Another great pose to make this audible breath. Check in with the shoulders, the jaw again. Relax the shoulders, relax the jaw, soften the face. Okay, if your arms are overhead, bring those back. Maybe grab onto the block as you bend your knees, one, then the other. Press the heels into the ground so that you can lift the pelvis, slide the block out, and very gently Just roll it down one vertebrae at a time. And I'm guessing a nice counter pose might be a little knee hug here. Again, that little boost from the blanket feels really nice to me. So I hope maybe you're trying the blanket or the towel underneath your seat too. And we're going to go into recline butterfly. So reaching for the feet or the ankles or the shins, going to kind of bring the soles or the heels together and use the weight of our hands to clasp around our feet, ankles, or shins and really pull those heels right towards the groin. Okay. And then you can also kind of feel the way the elbows just fit nicely into right inside your kind of your calves and shins. So you can get a little extra leverage there. Kind of wing them out, push out the butterfly wings a little bit. So this one's all about the inner groin. Another good hip opener here. Just find the place where it feels easy though. It's the gravity and the weight of your arms that are pulling your legs and your feet towards you. You know, maybe it feels better if your forearms kind of match your shins and you're just kind of pulling your knees towards you. It's sort of a little bit like a happy baby, but because the feet are together, we've got more of a butterfly. Settle in, close the eyes, slow the breath, find the stillness, and hold it. Okay. All right, as we come out of butterfly, I'm going to suggest you grab onto your knees, bring them back towards center to touch. If you want to massage your back a little bit here, you could draw some circles with the knees, maybe a couple times around one direction, switch it up, draw a couple circles in the other direction. And then release the feet down to the mat, and we're going to move into banana. So that would be our last pose before Shavasana. Now, if you want to keep the blanket still, cool. Remember that we're anchored in the hips on banana. I'm going to take my right foot off the mat first. So we're just going to take our right heel, kind of walk it off the mat. And then don't move that whole midsection. We stay anchored to the floor, but I'm going to lift my upper body. And I'm going to bring it on over to the right side as well. I'm going to cross my left ankle over my right. So I'm going for my full kind of left side body stretch here. So imagine seeing yourself from the ceiling looking down. You're making that nice curved C banana shape. If it doesn't feel good to cross the legs at the ankle, you don't have to do it. Again, maybe you want to try the other way, cross the right leg over left. I do not care for that, so I'm going the opposite, left over right. Clasp your hands under your head. You could cushion that, give them a little cushion, a little pillow. You can keep the hands straight overhead. You could add a little tug even, where your right hand would be clasping the left wrist for a little gentle tug, so you even have more of a stretch in that upper body and the arm. But you do you. So whatever feels good to stretch out the left side of the body in this case is what you're going for. Classically, you look at your feet. So I'm kind of glancing like right over my armpit, looking down towards my feet. But if for some reason that just doesn't feel good in your body or it hurts your neck or whatever, no problem. You could even have a blanket under your head here, a little pillow if that feels nicer. Side body stretch. The obliques people talk about. They talk about the little intercostal muscles between the ribs. So that's really what we're targeting here. Just kind of opening up the entire side body. Almost kind of like you're pulling your ribs apart, but then it goes even up higher under the shoulder, into that armpit, under the shoulder. So hopefully you've got your C curve now. So we settle. Back to the breath. Hold it right there. I read something today on my yoga Instagram of all these other versions of ASAP. So we think of ASAP as soon as possible, as soon as possible. Such a American way to operate. But they were listing a whole bunch of other ones, and the top one they had was as slow as possible. That's yin yoga. We're cultivating the opposite by doing yin yoga. Okay, side one complete. I like to bring the upper body back first, recenter on the mat, then bring the lower body back. I'm going to switch sides. So I'm going to walk that left heel off the mat, crossing the right over the left. Again, picturing that C curve. Anchor the hips. Don't move the hips, but lift your upper body up and over. Maybe clasping hands underneath the head. Maybe reaching straight up with kind of a steeple grip. Maybe grabbing on left hand to right wrist, adding a tug. Maybe you're just leaving your hands on your belly today too. This could be enough today. Every day is different. We honor that. And whatever we did on the opposite side of the body, it doesn't have to look exactly the same because it might not feel exactly the same. So what we're going for is the feeling. We want the deep side body stretch. And whatever gives us the deep side body stretch is how we want to be. My busy monkey mind has finally slowed down. I hope you can say the same. It definitely took me a while to get there, you guys. I'm missing my yin. I've been doing a lot more vinyasa. I've been working on my headstand, and I need this. So it's a pleasure to practice with you on these evenings, and it gives me an excuse to do it too. Okay. Upper body back to center, lower body back to center. If you want to give your knees a quick hug because you felt a little tug on your low back, do it. At this point, I am going to slide my blanket out from under me and cover myself up for Shavasana. So let's make yourself as comfortable as possible. We're going to go over by a couple of minutes, but I don't think you guys mind. We got a couple minute late start. So center yourself on the mat, cover yourself up. Maybe you want to bolster under the knees today. Maybe you'd like a pillow under your head today. Just get comfortable. Tuck the shoulder blades. I like to press into my head, lift up my chest, and then resettle my shoulders back down on the mat. Make them feel nice and flat. But remember, there's a tiny little C curve behind your low back, so you should be able to reach underneath your low back. Feet just flopping out to the sides. Legs are spread a good 6 inches to 8, 10 inches apart. Arms away from the body, about 6, 10, 8 inches, whatever, somewhere in there. Take some nice deep breaths. And let's slow it down even more. Relax your toes, give them a little wiggle. Soften the feet and the ankles. Relax the shins, the calves, the knees. Let go of any gripping. Thighs heavy, hips sinking into the mat. Hands and fingers are soft, palms facing the sky to receive. Arms heavy, shoulders grounding into the mat beneath you. Neck is relaxed, jaw is soft, face is smooth. Breathe at your own natural pace. Not trying to shape or force. The body soaking in all the after effects of the practice. Just observing, staying present with the body. Hopefully you found stillness tonight. If you wiggle your fingers or rub your fingertips together, wiggle your toes, maybe circle the ankles, circle the wrists. Keep the eyes closed and slowly roll onto one side. Stay low. Use your arm to cushion your head like a little pillow. Let's take a deep inhale. Exhale out the mouth like we started. Slowly press yourself back upright on empty. And come into easy sit again, comfortable cross-legged position. Flutter the eyes open. Hands come to center. Heart center in prayer. Anjali Mudra. Dip the chin. Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for practicing. Namaste. So sorry, I can't